my name is Caitlin Campsmith, and I'm here to talk about the film The Shack that was released in 2017 with some pretty big names as far as the cast, like Sam Worthington playing Mac Phillips, Octavia Spencer playing Papa, Tim McGraw playing Willie, Rada Mitchell playing Nan Phillips, which is Mac Phillips' wife, um, and then Graham Greene or Grenay, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's the male version of Papa. Um, some pretty big names right off the bat. For me, I thought this was just one of the lesser cheesy faith-based films, which I thought was really cool because it was introduced to me at a really pivotal time in my life. It was one of the biggest contributing, well, it was one of the contributing factors that led to a huge decision in my life to seek the Lord more heavily and walk in a healing and deliverance journey. And so, which is essentially what the film is about. So, the family, the Phillips family goes on a camping trip, and through some circumstances, his kids were playing out on a lake. He had to go and rescue his oldest and his two oldest, and then in the meantime, their youngest daughter, Missy, was abducted, and because she was left by herself, and through over some time, we figure out that she was killed, and they took her to the shack where they believe it happened, and so after that, the family seems to be in turmoil. Prior to that, it seems like they're a pretty happy family. And after that, it just kind of wrecks them. Of course, death in the family, especially death of a child. And then, Mac is muddling through and kind of getting worse in his family and his marriage and all of his really close relationships around him. And he ends up receiving a letter in the mail from, and it's signed Papa, which is significant to Mac because that's what he referred to the Lord in his quiet time. And so, so it meant something to him, and the letter asked him to go and meet his Papa at the shack. And so he, through some crazy circumstances with old Tim McGraw, ended up going to the shack and had a lot of processing. And what we don't find out until the end of the movie is that he ended up getting in a pretty bad accident, but it's a really smooth transition into him being found by Jesus and taken from this snowy place in the shack into like a fantastic looking paradise, essentially, and where he then meets God the Father and the Holy Spirit. Of course, I don't believe he knows that for a while, doesn't click for a while, and so through some time, it shows difficulties of forgiving someone who, it would be easy to believe that doesn't deserve forgiveness. And he's walking through healing with the Holy Spirit, taking him into his garden and showing him, some roots that need to be dug up and how to replant and how to sow seeds and how to be vulnerable and all of this stuff and how to be closer with the Lord, right? It shows what it looks like to be in the seat of judgment, and just kind of makes everything, to me at least, really relatable, and really, I think it just ever so slightly demystifies your relationship with the Lord and what that could look like, right? At least, again, for me it did. And then, so it ends up, in the end, you see that it was because, he chose to forgive, he chose to come back, he chose all those things, and you see that he recognizes where he was, and he tells his wife, she believes him, and through forgiveness and healing, things get better, and the Lord's goodness is shown through the entire thing. Highly recommend.